I wanted to also talk about Israel's assassination of the IRGC leader. Looks to be potentially sparking escalation, like I talked about last episode. It potentially could, along with the ending of Ramadan. Iran issued a statement saying that Iranians being attacked are a red line for them, and this could possibly lead to an escalation from Hezbollah instead of Iran directly. I mean, why would Iran directly get involved when they can just use its proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas? But Hezbollah is a very formidable opponent against Israel. Iran is much bigger and stronger than Israel. Hezbollah could also defeat Israel. I don't know. Obviously, this is not including the potential backing from the U.S. with Israel in a war against Hezbollah, but simply head to head between them, it's pretty even. It's a pretty even fight, and Hezbollah could potentially win that fight. But also, I mean, obviously Israel could too, but it's about 50-50, I would say, between them. So why would Iran get involved directly with Israel, waste that money and killing of its soldiers when they could just use its proxy, Hezbollah, which is right on Israel's border? So potentially this could start a war between Hezbollah and Iran. This could be Iran's response, giving Hezbollah the green light to start a full-fledged war. I mean, they've been technically at war since October 7th, but not really a full-fledged war. It's just kind of been throwing missiles back and forth, just backing each other off the border a little bit. But Israel has been building up massive supplies, actually, for a full-out war with Hezbollah. Reports say over $500 million has been invested in boosting stockpiles in Israel. It appears that Israel's officials and government are expecting an inevitable war with Hezbollah, and reports and experts have also been... The experts believe that it's only a matter of time before a full-fledged war with Hezbollah and Israel begins. But this assassination of the IRGC leader in Damascus, it could start that. Iran's already said that they will take decisive action, and them, along with Hezbollah, are saying cryptic messages. I mean, they've always done that. But in response to this, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the spark that starts a full-fledged war between Israel and Hezbollah. Like I said, it's unlikely Iran will directly get involved and strike Israel because they don't really need to. They have Hezbollah, which is a pretty equal opponent to Israel. And, but who knows? Iran could fight Israel along with Hezbollah, and then they could just, in their own minds, look, this is our chance. We can get rid of Israel if we do this together. I think that's unlikely, because I think Iran knows that if they get directly involved, then the United States will get directly involved with Iran, and it will be starting a war with the United States. I mean, the second Iran launches against Israel directly, they're starting a direct war with the United States. So they know that. They're not going to do that. I think they would use their proxy of Hezbollah instead. Hezbollah and Israel have had wars before. I can't remember the exact year, but it was early 2000s was the last war. I think it lasted about 6 months. Nobody really wants a war with Hezbollah in Israel because obviously it costs a lot of money, a lot of dead soldiers and dead citizens. But I think they understand that this is inevitable. This is going to happen eventually. That's why they've been investing over $500 million and boosting its stockpiles. So I believe everybody thinks that this war is going to happen eventually between Hezbollah and Israel. The only question was what was going to spark that, and it looks like this assassination could spark that. This timing up with the ending of Ramadan, like I mentioned last episode, could potentially be the perfect storm, per se, to start this conflict between them. And Hamas has been greatly destabilized. They've been greatly hit from Israel during this war. I mean, they're pretty much at the bottom and would have to... I mean, Israel would like to wipe them out completely, but, I mean, they're at a point it would take them a long time to rebuild, to strike Israel again. So I don't think Israel will be against moving to Hezbollah if they have to. Israel wouldn't fire the first strike. It would be Hezbollah, and it would happen unexpectedly, is what the experts are claiming, that this war would be something that would kind of happen out of the blue. But this kind of wouldn't be out of the blue. This would kind of be in response to the assassination. So that assassination timing up with the ending of Ramadan next week, this could be the start of a Hezbollah war with Israel. I don't know how much the U.S. would back. I think the U.S. would back them budget, like they would send them money and stuff to replace its Iron Dome, which will be in full effect, obviously protecting its citizens from Hezbollah missiles. But I do not think it would reach the same level as they're doing in Ukraine. Israel would need much bigger help from the United States than what it got for fighting Hamas. Hamas is a much lower level opponent than Hezbollah. Hezbollah is one of the strongest terrorist organizations in the Middle East. But it'll be interesting to see how much the United States does back up Israel. I think Israel could last a good period of time without much help from the United States. But if it starts to look bad, and like I said, it's about 50-50, I would say. Maybe like 55-45 Israel maybe to get the edge, but it's pretty equal between them and Hezbollah. So if the tides start to turn towards Hezbollah's way, I mean, Hezbollah is going to have full backing from Iran. Obviously, it's its proxy, but it'll be interesting to see, will the United States help Israel if the tides do turn and it's not looking good for Israel in a war against Hezbollah. It'll be interesting to see how much they help them, because the United States like to say that they're an ally and that we'll help them to do whatever it takes to survive as a nation. But it appears we've been backing away from that, and we've got our own president and Netanyahu going head to head. So if this war does start soon, how much will the United States back Israel in that war? I saw yesterday that the United States and Israel came together and collaborated and made an agreement for Israel to go into Rafah, thankfully. So that may be a positive sign that the two sides are starting to work more together instead of against each other. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see if Israel needs the United States help in this war against Hezbollah. Will the United States provide that help? So we'll see what happens. The Middle East tensions appear to be rising again. You know, when October 7th happened and the war in Gaza began, tensions in the Middle East were like something I've never seen. Obviously, I haven't lived long enough to see past instances like the previous Hezbollah-Israel war, the Yom Kippur war. So obviously, I haven't been alive to see it, but I mean, it was unbelievable to see how high the tensions were after October 7th. They eventually kind of cooled down, but they've kind of stayed at a certain level with the potential to rise back up again. And it looks like it's kind of starting to creep back up again. Like I said, the ending of Ramadan is coming up. This assassination, this was the first time Israel has taken out a direct member of the Iranian military. So this is kind of a big deal. This may be the biggest move from Israel since the beginning of the war against Hamas. I mean, this was not a Hamas leader. This was an Iranian leader. So who knows? This may be a red line that Israel just crossed, to where Iran allows Hezbollah to start a full-fledged war with Israel, or Iran itself. I don't think that's likely, but it's possible. So the tensions in the Middle East are starting to rise again. And like I said last episode, experts believe the ending of Ramadan could start a new escalation from other countries. And it looks like this assassination from Israel of an Iranian leader, it could spark that escalation. God forbid. We need to pray that doesn't happen, and I hope it doesn't happen, but it looks like it's starting to head that direction again. And Iran says that Israel just crossed a red line for them, so who knows? Maybe the inevitable war between Hezbollah and Israel is here. So